In my 10th grade literature class, my students analyzed the work of classic Greek philosophers in order to understand the foundation of Western thought and the principles of the English language. In the back left-hand corner of the class sits Kevin, a 15-year-old boy with academic apathy embroidered on his eyelids and a stardust disposition that could be seen all the way from the other side of this 1960s kaleidoscope of a hallway. Keeps his head face down on his desk because with no father, he's never known a black man in this world worth looking up to. But I try to engage him anyway. Try to connect this excerpt from a 1,000-year-old text to the world he wakes up to every morning. And some days are more successful than others. But today, Kevin comes up to me after class and says, "Mr. Smith, why do we even read this stuff anyway?" So I tell him, Kevin, Socrates was killed for political dissension. This world wants to either see you killed or sit in detention. His time was more similar to yours than you think, but now Athenian and Spartan militias manifest themselves in bandanas and brown skins. So I beg of you, don't become part of a war in which you were never meant to fight. Listen, Aristotle said we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, is not an act, but a habit. So you better act like you have it, because the only difference between you and these Greek philosophers is the scraggly beard, the wrinkly skin, and that silly-looking robe. But your ideas are no less profound, your insights no less enlightening, your values no less important. There are brilliant words bubbling from the ballpoint tip of your pen if you would just take off the cap. But what do I know? I'm just a 24-year-old public school teacher who continuously questions everything he's ever known. We have skin of a common complexion, but a lifetime of experiences more dissimilar than the solar system. So who am I to come into this classroom and tell you what to do? A quarter lifetime worth of missteps has taught me that my savior complex is something I need to shed from my skin. So trust, I'm not trying to save you because I'm still trying to save myself. Honestly, how can I teach him to believe that he is Plato when gentrification has taught him he is nothing more than Play-Doh, something to be moved and molded at will by those doing the sculpting? So there's only one thing left to do: become the sculptor and not the sculpted. Become the statistician and not the statistic. Kevin, I'm not perfect. I'm just a teacher trying to get you to understand all that you are already capable of doing. So I have no choice but to make sure you understand how to dissect this text, because me teaching you poetry through Lil Wayne lyrics won't help get you into college. We will work until concepts like the prison industrial complex and the achievement gap are archived into the library of America's imperfections. You will learn to read critically, write consciously, speak clearly, because that is the only way this world will ever listen to what you have to say. So let's make this world see you in more than just Jordans and prisons. Let's flip that and have them see you with college admissions. Show them you are more than just a jumble of brown-faced quantitative data on charts and spreadsheets. Show them there is an Aristotle awaiting to be awakened in your chest. Show them there is a Plato pumping potential through your veins. Show them there is a Socrates ready to spring forth from your throat. Your Mount Olympus is standing right in front of your face. So now it's time to pick up your head and start climbing. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. So my name is Clint Smith. I'm a 2011 DC Region Corps member. Shout out to DC. I teach at Parkdale High School in Prince George's County. Going to stay at my placement school next year. Very excited about it. And so while poetry for me and spoken word has given me this medium to articulate my experience in the classroom and the lives of my students and their communities and their families in a really unique and powerful way. What's even more powerful for me is kind of trying to create a space in which my students feel that their stories can be given that same platform as well. And so in addition to using poetry in my classroom, I'm also the coach of our slam poetry team. And one of my students is here and is gonna share a poem with us as well. We should clap for that. This is Josh. He's going to Carnegie Mellon next year. And I am just living in his shadow. So, Josh Abba.
It's going to be a tough act to follow. Okay. Dear Uncle Sam, I am a Nigerian man born into American soil. And maybe because we're related by blood, that's why I prefer hip-hop and go-go over dancing to Niger bands, jeans over lace, rap bars over dad's farm, agnostics over Christianity, good music over God music, and ebonics over pigeon. Listen, I was raised in your society while told to live for another. Imagine the repercussions of grabbing a bird, but throwing that bird into the water, but still expecting him to fly. So please do not blame me for developing gills instead of wings, because I'm just adapting to my environment a long time ago. I asked my father and mother, why do all of my relatives know how to speak my native language of Idoma, and I don't? It was then that she informed me of the dire decision you forced her to make, in which they agreed to teach me and my siblings English first in order to excel in class and academics, and then our native language, but the then never came to pass. I suppose maybe that's why my knowledge of Othello comes at expense of my ignorance towards Okonkwo. Now the only thing we have in common are the two worlds that we live in. So you can best believe that both of these things are falling apart, and if you read Ochebe's book, you would understand the African pun. If not, I guess you just don't understand my people. Matter of fact, scratch that. Just call them Africans like you always do, because you gave me no right to claim them anymore. See, Uncle Sam, my family has been filled with African speaking and American accents for generations, but you made me the only one vice versa. My mom always told me, Josh, find a girl with good African roots. I tell her, okay, Mom, as long as her hair has no African roots. She says, hold on, son, what are you saying? Because last time I checked, you were African too. But now, Mom, see, you keep on dodging the truth, because in all honesty, you, Dad, and Uncle Sam never even asked me to choose. The truth of the matter is, Mom, I was African in the placenta, but the moment that you began crowning at the top of my head meant incoming American heir rather than the crown of an African prince. I was born a U.S. citizen. See, Uncle Sam, you always tell me there is a time and place for everything, but you made my mother birth me in between both. You always tell me that if I cannot beat them, join them, but what happens if neither is an option anymore? Uncle Sam, how dare you give me A's in class and academics when I begin to fail immediately when I cross overseas? Because see, what you told me was that knowledge was universal. But see, now I realize I know all of the words except for the ones that truly matter, such as las palabras para mí no son significantes, lest I give a twist and turn like the ones I just gave in Espanol. Bravo. Don't you all see the sorrow? How I can use Spanish to spit some shady Jay-Z puns that when it's all said and done, I don't even know my own native tongue. And if I can't speak myself, I can't think myself. And if I can't think myself, I can't be myself. But if I can't be myself, I will never know me. So Uncle Sam, tell me this: if I will never know me, how can you? Thank you.